I spoke the other day to the new president of Mexico, very nice woman, and we had a very nice conversation, but she said, "Why are you doing this to me?" I said, "I'm not. I'm just putting a lot of tariffs on because you're allowing criminals to pour into our country."
Yeah, an important conversation. Thank you for joining us. I'm Marnie Hughes in Chicago. You're watching NewsNation Live. The president-elect promising a major crackdown on the border with mass deportations when he takes office next month. He's now saying Mexico's president is agreeing to close the border, something she is denying. Trump ramping up his border plans with his latest picks for top White House jobs, choosing Rodney Scott for Border Patrol Chief. He's also naming Caleb Vitello as the acting director of the agency. Robert Sherman joining us live from Florida with the latest on this. Robert, let's start with the conversation between Trump and Mexico's president. What more do we know about what was shared and what she is now denying?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different challenges here that the president-elect is trying to overcome as he has these conversations with Mexico. Of course, one is the obvious 20,000-foot view of stopping the flow of migrants going into the United States. There's another question right now that the Trump team is trying to deal with, and that is exactly how do you carry out this massive deportation plan, particularly when you're dealing with so many different countries of origin that are showing up at the U.S.-Mexico border. Some of them countries of origin which the United States doesn't have strong diplomatic ties, such as Cuba and Venezuela, for example. And one of the things that is being floated about this deportation plan is deporting people to their non-country of origin. Already, you're starting to see some countries here in the region trying to get out ahead on this. The Bahamas has said that they don't want to take in any migrants that are not initially hailing from the Bahamas. And Mexico's president saying as well that she does not want any deal to be struck with the United States that causes them to take in migrants that are not Mexican nationals. This is what she had to say on that subject. Take a listen.
Obviously, we stand in solidarity with everyone, but our main purpose is to receive Mexicans, and we hope to reach an agreement with the Trump administration so that in case these massive deportations happen, they send people from other countries directly to their countries of origin.
It's been public acknowledgement of some of the tough talks that are already brewing between the president of Mexico and President-elect Donald Trump. You've already heard some of these conversations involving tariffs, trying to slow down immigration as well, setting the stage for big negotiations that are slated to take place once the president-elect comes into office here. But this is a central campaign promise that Mr. Trump has made, is to try and stem the tide of the flow of illegal immigration into the United States. And that's something that they're hoping to tackle early in this administration. Marnie?
What more are we learning about some of these border appointments, Robert?
Well, another big one has just been made here, Marnie. That would be Rodney Scott, who's going to head up Customs and Border Protection. You may recall that name, formerly the Border Patrol Chief under the previous Trump administration, someone who has been an outspoken critic of the current situation at the U.S.-Mexico border under the Biden administration, who's been calling for returns to some of the Trump-era policies along the U.S.-Mexico border in order to bring down the number of crossings that are taking place. NewsNation has spoken with him rather extensively over the last couple of years as well, and he's expected to be a very key appointment here. Again, someone who knows the president-elect well, someone who the president-elect has praised publicly in the past, that he's slotting into that CBP leadership position. Marnie.
All right, Robert Sherman in West Palm Beach. Thank you joining us. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.